the Nathan Cleary stuff. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I support it. I support it.
You support it?
I support it, mate. If Nathan Cleary was my player,
Yeah.
and I was a coach, or I was in Phil Gould's position. So, if you're going to get a young fella and put him into a state of origin side, you put him under the blowtorch, particularly if he's going to wear the 7. Yeah, he's the guy that shoulders the majority of the blame. Just ask Mitchell Pearce. He's the guy that's going to be under the most pressure. And if you're going to put a young guy in there at 19 years of age or 20 years of age, you have to have a very, very strong, experienced leadership group around him who are going to protect him and look after him. And I'm sorry, at the moment, from the outside looking in, New South Wales at the moment looks like every man for himself.
Yeah,
Why sacrifice a kid too early? Get it right. And then when you fully understand that he's ready to go, you're not taking a risk, and you put him in there. And so, look, as much as I would love to see Nathan get there, sooner rather than later. I understand where Gus is coming from, and I think he's exactly right on it.
What do you think, MJ?
Yeah, look, it's on the face value of it. There's no one who knows Nathan Cleary more than Phil Gould. But he's the same bloke who blooded Brad Fittler at 17 as well. In first grade. He was one of them blokes who just stood out. And I think Nathan Cleary is one of them kids who stands out.
But you think about your Panthers team then.
Oh, we had
And you had all these experienced guys around who were ready to win a grand final.
Yeah. I've got no doubt that Nathan Cleary will one day play Origin. I don't know if he's ready in 12 months or 24 months. I know that one thing is for sure, that the whole thing about State of Origin at the moment stinks. When we have the head of the New South Wales Rugby League putting his head in the sand saying that we haven't got a cultural problem, forget about what's happened with the individual players at the moment. Something's wrong. We've lost 11 series out of 12.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. So it doesn't take us as ex-rugby league players to know that something's wrong. The man on the street's telling us every day something's wrong. The man, my mum and dad who ring me up and say, what's wrong with New South Wales? I don't know because I'm not in the inner sanctum. But something is wrong. And for the biggest, since Game 3, all we've spoken about is player behaviour. Forget about if Morris had passed that ball. He didn't. Forget about if Billy Slater hadn't done this or done that. He didn't do it. We lost the game. Yeah. We lost the series again. We've lost 11 out of 12 series. Something is wrong with New South Wales Rugby League. And when the main man, Mr. Trodden, comes out and says, no, these players haven't got anything to face as far as discipline goes, I'm sorry, but they have. They've brought their team into disrepute by, even if they go on their own down 80 Ks to have a beer. They've made headlines for the wrong reasons, and it's affected everybody. You could tell by Game 3, Matty, that they had something on their mind. They had something on their mind, the Origin side. And now that we're reading all about it, of course they did.
It's not with Dugan and Ferguson. It's not the act. For me,
no, far from
it. It's the attitude. It's the attitude of saying, this is how I'm going to prepare for probably the most important rugby league game of my life.
That's right.
Let's talk about Laurie Daly. Gus has said he thinks his time is spent. He thinks he is done and dusted.
Yeah, his quote was, he said that Laurie was cooked and not in an emotional state to continue as New South Wales coach. And the question would be, wouldn't it, like, if you're Laurie, would you want to continue? Because there's no doubt he's been let down. Would you want to? They tell me at the moment that he is. Mate, at the moment he's
hurting.
He's really hurting.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't heard from Loz for a while, and I can understand why. Because mate, he must be feel like one of those heavy punching bags. Yeah,
who takes over then, boys? If he doesn't decide to take the reins again, who takes over for you guys? Put a line in the sand right now on that.
Well, I'm Phil Gould, Gus Gould with Matty, Andrew and Freddie and Matty is a consultant. Oh, no, Matty's got his own thing.
Matty, would you be a consultant for Gus Gould in a New South Wales camp?
Anyone who's ever represented New South Wales, anyone who sort of think if they asked you to do something in some way, shape or form, you would do it, no matter how small. I'll say this straight away. I couldn't go away and go into camp for a week.
No.
And that's sort of, but anything that...
But a phone call.
MG, anything me and you, if they come to us and said, would you have any way of involvement, even if, guys, we're going to have a dinner, would you turn up at the dinner and do something? Yes, you would. You'd do that.
But you'd rather, I think why Queensland is so good is they don't make their little things public. They don't make, the one-on-ones, like say...
It's interesting, MG. What we see with Queensland is with people like Napa, with people like Munster, and these young guys
Tim
coming to
Glassy.
see, what we see is the tip of the iceberg. we see them come out of nowhere, Munster, and suddenly put in this man of the match performance, and we go, wow. What we don't see is the last 3 years, him being brought into and just being nurtured along and groomed by that.
And then
by
when
the
he
senior
stepped out of
playgroup.
line, he gets chucked out for a year.
Suddenly he, Milford and that, Valentine Holmes and all these fantastic young players, they break curfew. Guess what, boys? 12 months suspended.
Yeah.
And they're better for it. But it's a process they have where we sort of get there at the moment and Nathan Cleary's suddenly playing good. We say, quickly, let's get him in, get him in. No, mate, I think we have to put in place a process so that when you're ready to be picked for New South Wales, it's not like you're walking into camp for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like, I know these blokes. I know what's expected. I know how we're going to play. And it makes the rate of success a lot better. Talking about who's going to coach, it was actually interesting during the Gus actually believes it is time to bring back the club coach. To a person, he said, and he ruled himself out. He said, I don't want to do it. But Gus said, when I coached Origin as a club coach, I found it far easier than when I came in as basically a person who wasn't coaching week to week.
Yeah.
He said, because when you're coaching week to week, you're battle hardened. You know how you want to play, and you're ready to go. For that, if you're looking for a club coach, and he's had his go once again, but from my understanding, he said to people that he learned a lot from that experience. Well, it's got to be Bellamy.
Yeah, it has to be
Yeah,
Bellamy.
he's got the best team in the comp. Well, let's talk more about the culture around the Blues.
Like Matty's column today, I've been reading that just in the break. Basically, Matty, you're getting to the bottom of what players' motivation is, and as New South Wales, the headline is, had better get smart.
Well, the thing about it is, MG, there's certain attributes in players that people who want to play alongside, and one is that they're doing it for the right reasons, and it's really hard to understand motivations. I mean, if we're going into a game, my motivation might be slightly different to yours, Gus's, and different to Page's and different to MG's. But what you want underpinning it all is that you're there for the right reasons. It's a lifetime ambition. You want to play for the Blues, and you desperately want to win. You desperately want to win. And I remember Paul Harrigan. The Chief was the first one out of sort of our gang at Newcastle to go and play Origin, right? And he came back and he was talking to us young players and he goes, mate, it's the best, but it's just terrifying. Like, what do you mean? What's terrifying about it? Mate, I'm just terrified, Chimpy, that I'm going to let someone down. I'm terrified. And the thing about it is blokes who are terrified to let you down really do. And I remember Chief saying at the end of all that, when he's talking about Origin and what they got up to, and he goes, and guess what, boys? You get paid for it. Right, and never entered into mind. That's right.
That was the afterthought. Yeah.
You get paid. Now, the players, I just want to talk about, I said, what we need in New South Wales, and it goes without saying, but you want 17 players who are motivated on the same page. You're doing it for the right reasons, right? And, and I asked, did we have 17 players that were out there doing it for the right reason, that were wearing that jersey for the pride and to try to win for the state and for me and you and all the people out in the streets in the country, New South Wales, because that's what the Queenslanders are about. Very much they're about that. And you don't know. It's really hard. I said, so given that is the case, I said, it'd be an interesting experiment before Game 1 2018. If you called the week before you name the side, you got the 30 players who we're all talking about, maybe get picked, you get them in a room and say, this is what we're going to do, right? And the players get $30,000 for an appearance fee, win, lose or draw, and they deserve it because it is the toughest brand of rugby of any of the rugby league, rugby union, anywhere in the world.
Yep.
Forget Heineken Cup and all that, mate. State of Origin is the absolute pinnacle. They deserve the money. Don't get me wrong. But it'd be a really interesting process to say to the players, this is what we're going to do this year, right? You're going to get $40,000 if we win, but you get nothing if you lose. Now, I want you to go away, just have a think. Anyone unhappy, just notify me and you won't be up for no problems, but you won't be up for selection. That's easy. But opt out now. It'd be interesting to see who would opt out. But I tell you, if anyone did, what would be left with the winners?
Oh, yeah.
Because I look, Gus, at a bloke that you're mates with. I look at Jake Trbojevic, right? And I guarantee you this. I bet my life on this. So Jake Trbojevic would pay $30,000 to play State of Origin.
Yep.
He would. And so would his brother. So would Boyd Cordner.
Yep.
I reckon Frizzell, I reckon Josh Jackson, those blokes, they would. They're the blokes that don't let you down. They're the blokes that you need to win a series.
Yep.
And so it was just, it's discussion around that. And, that's
a
the
great
first
point.
step forward.
And that's why they picked blokes like Tim Glasby. Tim Glasby, if he was in New South Wales, wouldn't even make our top 50.
MG, the other thing...
That's just what they do.
MG, Chief also said another thing. He used to say it all the time we go into big games, and it was a thing that Gus said to Chief before one Origin series. He said, you know what Origin's about, Chief? He said it's about putting your hand over a naked flame. And he said your opponent's doing the same thing. And the first one to pull it off loses. And I said to Chief, what would you do? And he said, Chimpy, I'd cut my right hand off rather than let my teammates down.
Jesus.
And the reason why Queensland picked Tim Glasby and the reason why in the past they picked Gary Larson and Billy Moore and Dallas Johnson and guys like that is that those blokes wouldn't take their hand off the flame.
Yep.
That's
Full stop.
Wow.
Oh, well, there's always next year.
Yeah.
You know what? I just love the thought of those players having to go away for 5 minutes and think about whether or not they'd play for nothing.
Mate, even do it. Even make it more.
Because it could end up being, $120,000 for 6 weeks' work.
Wouldn't
as well.
it be an Origin series if you're the New South Wales coach and you got in touch with Kevy Walters and said, I want you to take something to your team, right? You blokes get 30,000 win, lose, or draw. So do we. Bugger it. Against your opposite number, let's make it 60,000. Right, 60,000 per game. Winner gets the 60 grand, loser gets nothing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that put some spice in the series?
Oh, yeah.
You'd see disappointment there.
The Grill Team, Gus, MG, and Matty Johns.